Pokemon Unite tier list, mobile release. This is going to be a wacky one because the new items are just insane, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take for people to find optimal builds and shuffle around where Pokemon belong on the tier list, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. The game does feel a lot different right now. Also, the balance changes were rather significant for quite a few Pokemon, so that is going to shift things around, and that is what we're breaking down in this video. If you enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment your thoughts down below, and share it with everyone you know that plays Pokemon Unite. Get them informed about the game, and everyone's just going to be having more fun. So let's start off with the best Pokemon in the game. It's Lucario. No, Lucario was not nerfed. Power Punch has not been the optimal moveset. Ever. It's always been Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed untouched. Nothing else about Lucario was nerfed. It needs a Steadfast nerf. It needs a Meteor Mash nerf. But until then, it's just the best laner. It's going to steal everything away from you. It's going to outduel you. Now it can use Razor Claw and just be even more ridiculous. It's nuts. Lucario, like, there's nothing you can do about Lucario, and it just gets better because Lucario has a very high skill cap, and people just keep breaking that skill ceiling every day or every week. But people are just better on Lucario, so now it's floating through the ranks. In my last tier list, I said it's like the top of A+ tier, or like an S- tier or something. It's just the best character in the game, and now that Blastoise has been nerfed, I'm going to put Blastoise at A+ tier. I think that bug fix actually mattered. Being able to auto-attack while rapid spouting is like 1,000 damage or more, especially with Muscle Band. So that's going to hurt Blastoise for its like early ganks. Maybe it doesn't get that extra kill. Maybe it clears like slightly slower or gets like a Vespiquen taken away from it or something. So it's going to also be a level down, which then hurts its scaling. So maybe that was like the change that just makes it where now Blastoise isn't always ahead and always one-shotting in the backline. So now there's actually counterplay to Blastoise over a bug fix. I do think that like Surf Hydro Pump is the best moveset as a tank, now that it isn't the best DPS in the game as well, and I think that was just pretty much like an A+ tier, but that rapid spouting was kind of out of control what you could do against like certain Pokemon, like unstoppability, and then a bajillion damage. So that was the thing, but now that Blastoise isn't just the best character in the game, Lucario gets its time to shine. Behind Lucario, putting Zeraora. Zeraora has always been S tier. Take it in the jungle instead of Greninja. Greninja wasn't even the best jungle last patch. You go in, you start snowballing, and then you get your passive stacked up, you use Discharge, you one-shot a team, especially after using your Unite move. Zeraora needs to be tuned down as well, but for some reason they decided to nerf Cramorant this patch, which also brings Cramorant down to A+ tier. In my tier list videos, Cramorant floats around. I was like, yo, it's S tier, I'm a Cramorant main, Pokemon can be unstoppable. Okay, maybe I was overvaluing Cramorant, wait, never mind, it's actually S tier. So it's kind of been floating around, but after looking at the numbers, which we're going to go over, unite-db.com, they have the patch notes, and these seem to be pretty accurate. After looking at how much damage was taken away from the Cramorant after playing a couple of games, that ult nerf, too big. Like, it's like, oh, it only lost like 1 point per level. But I mean, if you're getting multiple procs, same thing with the ratio, same thing with the base, losing 40, like you're losing almost 100 damage per per tick of the ult, per Arrokuda. That adds up. There's a lot of times where, like, someone's right on the edge, they're about to leave, and Arrokuda hits them or teammate and bounces and gets the finishing blow, and that's not going to happen. So pretty much it takes, like, one more Arrokuda to KO people, and also that could make the difference from, like, you surviving or them surviving or the whole team fight breaking down or something. And then Surf got a pretty significant nerf as well, so even if you go, like, Surf Hurricane into your Unite move and you hit multiple people, it might actually take, like, 2 extra Arrokuda to make that happen. Boosted attack did get buffed a bit, so it's like now you have to play around that a bit more. I don't know. Cramorant got some weird stuff going on with it. Also, I'm going to scroll up because I want to talk about Venusaur at some point. So it's like Cramorant got some weird stuff happening to it. I don't think that can put it in S tier anymore, even at like the best possible levels of Cramorant play, because it just got strictly nerfed, while Lucario and Zeraora didn't have anything happen to it. I don't know, guys. I don't know. That's just wacky to me. Alolan Ninetales, still putting it S tier, guys. Like, it's just a solid Pokemon. It's going to be very strong in lane. It's going to be very strong in the mid game. It's going to be very strong in the late game. I don't know how Blastoise's Unite move didn't get nerfed either, so maybe this Blastoise's new Lucario, top of A+ tier, maybe still secretly S-. I want to hope that the bug fix actually like tunes it down, and Blastoise hasn't been in every game just hard winning, so maybe that does make it A+ tier. But I don't know like how Blastoise didn't get Unite move nerf and then Alolan Ninetales does its own thing. It did get a bug fix, so it might actually be doing more damage with its Unite move, so that's like changing the game at Dreadnought, changing the game at Zapdos, and overall, set a Roar Veil, you hit as many stuns on people as possible, you open up the game for Blastoise, Lucario, Zeraora, some other Pokemon to fight, and then you just win. So, very strong Pokemon, very easy. Well, not easy to say, but it's like you just play it. You just play Ninetales, and you go kind of tanky Ninetales, and you're just topping damage, and you have supportive capabilities on top of that, which is pretty good. Some other A+ Pokemon we're going to talk about, Blissey. Blissey didn't need to be buffed like a patch ago with the changes to Helping Hand. No, wait. What was it? Safeguard. Changes to Safeguard and then Special Defense. Like, it was already spamming Soft Boiled and making Pokemon invincible. So now you just have to make the choice if you're going to make them invincible with Soft Boiled or make them invincible with the Safeguard. Bliss Assistance is strong, and Helping Hand is like the best move in the game, or like top 3 best moves in the game, because you boost a Greninja in, you boost a Cinderace in, now there's going to be more AD options as well with all the crit items, so you boost them in and make them more powerful, and then Blissey's laning is also very just annoying to go up against. If you have Blissey with a Focus Band and an Ally with a Focus Band, and you're just getting multiple heal procs while contesting over objectives, you're going to make the opponent suffer. And then you just scale from there, and if Blissey somehow manages to get ahead and get into its item up, or not item upgrades, into its move upgrades early, then you're just dominating the next Dreadnought, you're setting up for Zapdos, and it's just a very oppressive Pokemon when it comes to that supporting capability, and it's really strong. I don't know if it's above Cramorant, and I'm just going to start putting Pokemon around. So it's like, Lucario is the best in S tier, Blastoise is the best in A+ tier. I think this is like how S tier breaks down, and then everything else is just going to be as I slap it down onto the list. And Venusaur, I'm putting in B+ tier, which also kind of like brings some weird stuff, because you might notice this is different to my last tier list and how I had it organized. I don't have a C tier anymore, and I think it makes sense. Like, people are going to be like, why don't you just have S, A, B, C, D, F? Because that's not how the game feels. An A+ Pokemon stands out from an A tier Pokemon, but an A tier Pokemon is definitely strong and viable and very playable and a very good Pokemon play. It's just that A+ is like, yo, you're just going to slap no matter what. And S tier is, when you understand this Pokemon, like when you reach the skill cap on the Pokemon, it's pretty much unstoppable. But then like B+ tier, not as insane, but definitely usable. And when you look at the Venusaur buff, rather significant. 10% more damage reduction on the Giga Drain. As you tick Petal Dance, it's going to bring your Giga Drain off cooldown, so you're able to stay in the fight more. And then the damage here, 1% special attack, but this is 16 ticks. So we're getting 16 more damage per level, 1%, like 16% more over the course of a Petal Dance usage. Cooldown reduced. Pokemon Unite fights don't really last more than 9 seconds, but I mean, it's going to feel like it's always up. Maybe you get like a little bit extra in that second rotation, and it's going to be pretty strong. 10 more base damage per tick, but again, that's going to be 160 damage, and then movement speed has been increased, so you get on the target, you stick on them, you Giga Drain, you're tankier, and just going to be pretty good. So, I mean, that all scales, but also, if you get procced into your passive, managing your passive on Venusaur gets easier because of the Giga Drain buff, so that's going to be really nice. And also, it's also give multiplicative power to all these buffs, so that now you're just dealing like 1,000 more damage. Pretty much the 1,000 damage that was taken out of Blastoise has been put into Venusaur for similar moveset stuff going on. So, I mean, like, I think that makes it B+. I just never was a fan of how Solar Beam played in this game. It takes too long to come online. As a Solar Beam Venusaur, you're going to struggle to hit level 13 before Zapdos or at like an actual time that matters. The Unite move doesn't really matter, and as players get better at the game, it's harder to steal Zapdos, and it's harder to fight around it, where it's just like, if you have a Venusaur on your team, and you're going for that Zapdos 5v5, your team has just a higher chance of getting blown up, especially if you miss a Solar Beam, especially if you're not level 13. But even if you are level 13 and you land a Solar Beam, you're still going to lose because you're Venusaur, and that Sludge Bomb doesn't really do anything for the team, etc., etc. But now, you got like a soft Blastoise in there, but I mean, Blastoise Rapid Spouting still better, Venusaur still out of place, but now it's like slightly better to use, and if you're running this moveset in lane, it lets you scale a little bit more and not get completely destroyed. So I'm going to give Venusaur some respect. Hopefully, me giving slight respect to Venusaur doesn't burn me here, and then immediately drops back down to like F tier or something. But overall, more playable now. Good job, Venusaur. Let's go and talk about the F tier. It's just Slowbro. Slowbro's still unplayable. Don't play Slowbro. Slowbro's just bad, stays bad. I got rid of the wrong row. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Let's add B tier back in. I think that was, oh god, everything is falling apart right now because I'm just clicking the wrong buttons. So yeah, go over here, make that, put that B tier. So B tier is like one of those things where like every other Pokemon feels decently enough playable outside the Slowbro. Because the thing about Slowbro is you ignore it and then you win the game. It effectively just makes the game a 4.5 V5 or like a 4.5 V4. To where Slowbro doesn't completely remove one of the Pokemon from the enemy team, which is the 4.5, but Slowbro is completely useless, so then it's a 4. And then, like, it just kind of makes the game kind of weird. If Slowbro is running Amnesia, don't worry about it. It can't do anything. It's not going to do anything. Just dive through it, use Unstoppability. Maybe someone gets picked out by its Unite move, but then that just makes the fight a 4v4, where you collapse on the enemy team, and then they don't get to capitalize on Slowbro's Unite move or Amnesia usage, or Surf, or anything like that. And Slowbro just doesn't do anything. Also, speaking of Slowbro and people thinking it's good, or thinking that good things are good when they actually suck, if you're running Score Shield on any Pokemon, you're trolling, you're losing games, it's objectively bad, it does nothing. I did an item tier list guide breaking that down. It's not Score Shield Lucario that's broken. It's extreme speed and learning how to take camps properly. And also steal and secure and fight and take Lucario into the jungle because it's like the best jungle once it hits that level 5 power spike. It gets Vespiquen. Plan your extreme speeds around Vespiquen. Lucario's ridiculous. Just get better at understanding that. It's not Score Shield, guys. So we got that going on. And then, what else do we got? I'm like, what do we put in the B tier? Like, Charizard got some interesting buffs. Charizard, that Unite move change is also pretty wacky, and it definitely made Charizard stronger. The problem is Charizard is suffering, and you kind of want to put into jungle to scale, but Lucario, Zeraora, Cinderace, Greninja, other junglers, Gengar, are just better. So it's like, Charizard just doesn't really have a place, even though it's good when it gets, like, it's really good when it starts taking off. But to get to taking off, it's a suffering lane, it's a struggling Pokemon, and it doesn't really do too much. I'll say, like, nerf Fire Punch, because it only burns the first target now instead of all targets hit, or some weird stuff like that. You pretty much, you only exist as a Unite move, and there's Pokemon that are really strong with Unite move and exist at all points of the game. So Charizard having a hard time in that regard. Gengar, I'm still respecting Gengar at A+ tier. Like, I don't know why people sleep on it so much. Choice Specs math gets weird. I don't know if that, like, outright buffs it enough because it only activates once every 8 seconds, but then that improves your burst and also gives you base special attack, flat special attack compared to the Wise Glasses. So math and numbers are awkward. I did a Gengar guide. I think it's going to take a while for people to get the most efficient numbers out of it, but Gengar's just good. Like, you jungle, hopefully you get a decent enough gank or a counter gank or something, you get to level 7, you secure Dreadnought, and then you win. Like, that's Gengar, and then you can burst down entire teams. So I think it's just a strong Pokemon. You're overlooking it if you're not playing Gengar. Gengar's a better jungler than Greninja, maybe the same as Cinderace, now that Greninja got nerfed, and with the Greninja nerf back down to A tier. It was bugged. Greninja was overperforming because it was bugged and it was getting its attack boost in non-upgraded Smokescreen. So that means when it comes in for the gank and goes like invisible and pops out, everything that happens after that was just not supposed to happen, was literally bugged. And then they shaved off base stats from Greninja, and I thought like Cinderace was at least as good as Greninja, if not better, before the Greninja nerf. I think that the crit that Cinderace puts out, the DPS on Cinderace is just better, and it stays safe with Feint, and then it can also have crowd control with the Blaze Kick, so, you know, it at least competed with Greninja. I think Greninja was just flavor of the month, got definitely overly nerfed. I think all that needed to happen was see what happens if you remove the bug from Smokescreen, and then take out, like, 5 base AD across the board or something, I don't know, and yeah, now that Greninja's nerfed, it's not going to get as reliable Surf resets. It's not going to have everything that it had. Oh, wow, it's worse than I thought, because I went, like, double check on everything that happened. I forgot that Torrent got nerfed. So the attack boost is... So you're getting less boost on less attack. You're also squishier, so it's hard to stay in that. You're significantly squishier. Yeah, Greninja got gutted. God, like, those numbers make it feel B+ tier, but I guess good Greninja's players can still find a way. That just makes Cinderace just the better Pokemon to take into lane, to take into jungle, to scale into late game, to steal Zapdos, to scale, to pop off, etc., etc. Yeah, we got Cinderace just being really, really strong. Mr. Mime. I'm always going to consider Mr. Mime an A-tier Pokemon with S-tier mains. Like, if you one-trick the Mr. Mime, you're S-tier. Congratulations. There's nothing you can't do. For a lot of other players, it just feels like a janky, bad Pokemon that doesn't really do too much, which I think just kind of like averages out to where it's not hard to be a decent Mr. Mime player, and it has literally the best Unite move in the game. So, if you can just, like, if you're a bad Mr. Mime, just go, like, guard swap Confusion and make sure you're just hitting the back line. Like, get a guard swap onto Cinderace, confuse it, Unite move. Cinderace is now out of the game, and you still have a couple of ticks of your Unite move on Mr. Mime. So you've immediately, like, assassin Mr. Mime in that kind of way, or something weird. You don't even need to be a good Mr. Mime to get barriers, and I'm wondering if Mr. Mime is secretly A+ tier now, because the mobile makes barrier landing more reliable. I haven't looked into it, I haven't tested it, I haven't seen what people have said about it. Also, with all the, like, the new mobile players, they're probably more interested in playing, like, other cooler Pokemon than Mr. Mime. So, I mean, like, keep an eye on it. Very least, it's A tier. In the hands of an absolute beast of a player, it's S tier. And you'll, like, if you don't think that, you'll learn soon enough. Snorlax. Where do we put Snorlax? Snorlax is, like, weird, because, like, yeah, A+ tier. I just feel like the priority of Snorlax keeps on dropping off. Like, why play Snorlax if Lucario just has Nasty Secure with the Quick Attack, Meteor Mash? Snorlax Tackle, I think, is, like, the best thing for taking Centauradino or Corphish, and then you just scale from there, and then you provide crazy amounts of crowd control. It also, I think, actually, Snorlax is, like, stopping out a lot of the top Pokemon, because you can't Extreme Speed into the Snorlax on the Lucario, you can't Hex into the Snorlax on Gengar. Zeraora can get, like, pushed out of its discharge and not get enough effectiveness. So, yeah, I think, like, actually Snorlax might just go up in priority to keep blocking out the now stronger options, especially because of the Razor Claw making Pokemon ridiculous. Now, if Snorlax can get into the back line and disrupt a Gardevoir or a Pikachu who's trying to pop off with the Choice Specs, that's also going to be pretty good. So maybe, like, Snorlax's priority is going down, but its usefulness is going up, even though nothing has really changed about the Snorlax. And no, I don't want to hear anything about Flail weakness policy. If you're playing Flail, you're trolling. Much like Score Shield, worthless, don't do it, you're bad, etc. Gardevoir, still A tier, even with Choice Specs, takes so long to scale. Choice Specs helps that, but you're still a coin flip because it's impossible to land all of your abilities. If you land every ability every time, easy S tier, maybe best Pokemon in the game. Averaged out throughout the play, A tier. If you miss your Unite move at Zapdos, F tier, you lose the game. Something like that. Now we can talk about some B+ shenanigans. I think Absol and Talonflame, yeah, they strictly got buffed, especially with more crit items and shenanigans like that going on, but still out of the meta. Talonflame might be A tier. Absol is too much of a coin flip, too easy to exploit in the late game, just really kind of like falls out of place. But now that Talonflame has more crit, more damage, and also got usefulness buffs and damage buffs, is that enough to make it work inside of a team fight? Or is it just the best Pokemon in B+ tier? Who knows? Garchomp. Garchomp's A+ tier. If you haven't been convinced that Garchomp has always been A or A+ tier, you're a Garchomp. You're not good at the game. You don't see it for what it is. The buff didn't change anything. If you want to put Garchomp into S tier, it needs damage buffs. It needs to be beta, like Japanese June Pokemon Unite Nintendo Switch beta Garchomp. That thing was absurd. It did more damage and also had more healing. They buff the passive healing on Garchomp, immediate S tier. They buff its base damage or scaling or damage anywhere else, immediate S tier. It doesn't need that. Like, the Bulldoze buff actually really helped Gibble. The defense buffs helped Gibble even more. But if you're just a good Gibble player, you didn't need them. But Garchomp is just, like, it's buffed, it's stronger, but it's not strong enough to push it from A+ tier to S, but it's always been an A+ tier Pokemon, so not really much changed on the Garchomp. Crustle, S tier now. The crit, not Score Shield, bad, go away, no, you're trolling, get out of my games, stop using it, it's bad. Same thing with Stealth Rocks, no, bad, sucks, you're trolling, Rock Tomb, etc. Shell Smash X Scissor is the only way to play Crustle, and it can crit. So now that we have more crit options on the Crustle, Crustle has gotten stronger and more insane. I feel like with some of the other changes in the game, where it's like, okay, Now things are getting wacky, and with the mages maybe rising in popularity, maybe with like other things going on, it's like Crustle can just choose a target and end their game. Or they can just like Exeter, stuff them out, make it to where they can't take any action for a long time, still do like half their health, run around the map, become the fastest, tankiest, hardest hitting Pokemon for a couple of seconds. One of the best Unite moves in the game. Yeah, I think I just described an S tier Pokemon. It's a menace. The other support's a B tier. Maybe Eldegoss B+, but Wigglytuff is overrated. Apparently Sing was bugged, and apparently it's still bugged, but that wasn't what made Wigglytuff good. Wigglytuff is only good into trash players that int into the cute charm. Just don't let that happen, and then Wigglytuff drops off too hard in the late game to matter. But its Unite move cleanses Dreadnought debuff, so you can play around that. I don't, like, again, like, there's too many scenarios where you need, like, the perfect thing to happen to justify Wigglytuff, and it just ain't there. Now, I will say rollout Wigglytuff is, like, B+. Because that's a menace, but everyone's running Sing. And then, again, it drops off too much, and it's still hard to, like, land roll out and be consistent, but that shield for secures and trading is really good. Double Slap is always the best play. Dazzling Gleam nerf doesn't matter. Just a lot of weird stuff for Wigglytuff, but I'm generally never impressed by it. It's like, okay, you get a little bit of frustration out of it. That's cool. Score Shield sucks as an item, so that's not even, like, boosting Wigglytuff's usage. And then there's just better Pokemon play. Like, Wigglytuff uses its Unite move, doesn't really have too much more to go into the late game. Zeraora uses its Unite move, cancels out all the shield, dives into the team, and then blows everyone else up. So, I mean, like, right now, the game is so damage favored, especially after the new items being introduced, that you either have to completely stuff out the team fight with, or just, like, prevent scaling like Blissey does, or you're whatever. And then Eldegoss has better anti-engage, where it's like, okay, shield, AoE healing, really good Unite move, Disruption, Dispersal, more healing, and then it goes into another ability rotation. That's infinitely more power inside of a team fight to at least give your team a chance to not get bursted than the Wigglytuff. And Wigglytuff has this weird thing where it wants to go in, but it can't be, but it has to be with its team to get like the full Unite move usage. And I don't know, it's a weird Pokemon. I think it drops off too hard. Pikachu, still considering a B+, even with choice specs. I feel like choice specs is why Cramorant got nerfed and why Pikachu didn't get buffed, because like they just want to see how that plays out, but nah, man, Pikachu needs like actual numbers added into its kit. And it's actually really sad when you compare Pikachu to really any other Pokemon, because like look at this, 66 special attack scaling on the Electro Ball. That's it. Even 5x on the 18 special attack on Thunder. Not really a lot. Thunderbolt, 50, 61, what? 40? That is the lowest scaling. Like, you can click on any other Pokemon that does special attacks. Gardevoir, we got 66 on Moonblast, and that's a stun baked in, and it's like just off the map range. So, I mean, that's like comparable to the Electro Web or something. But Psyshock, flat 77, and then it hits 3 times. And then it also scales so much harder. And then 4 ticks, more damage, final tick. So, I mean, like, Gardevoir just has flat better scaling. Pikachu could use some of that. Mr. Mime is gross. Cramorant, even after the nerf. Like, Surf does that. Surf is 170%. Surf is all of Pikachu's scaling in one hit. And then, also, we have Hurricane on the 103. Yeah, it is easy to use Pikachu's abilities because they're easy to target, and Cramorant is a much higher skill cap, much more reward needed for landing those abilities. But even that's why Pikachu isn't picked, because people that are good at the game can land actual moves, and it doesn't matter. Gengar's scaling is atrocious. Well, not atrocious, like disgustingly good. Ninetales even. Dazzling Gleam, Aurora Veil, and then Snow Globe, and all these like other weird things. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of like Ninetales burst, but then the Aurora Veil just makes Ninetales way better than Pikachu, and the boosted special attacks. It's like you're getting a Pikachu ability every auto attack instead of Aurora Veil. Too good. So yeah, Pikachu just needs stats. Pikachu needs flat damage buffs, it needs scaling buffs, and maybe just like hit point defenses, so it can be a bit more like up front and making sure it's landing damage and can get into the fight to get damage to the backline or to targets that are trying to be safe. Until then, B+ tier. Like, and then it's also kind of drops off in the late game and it can get behind in lane and stuff. I don't know, it's a thing. Machamp, somewhere between A and A+ tier. There's so many Pokemon A+ tier, I guess Machamp is A. Also, why pick Machamp when Garchomp got buffed and Lucario is the best character in the game and Zeraora is the best melee? And Crustle is like, yeah, Crustle just turns Machamps into Machomps, so that's a thing. But Machamp's still really good. Like, it used its Unite. Okay, so here's what I'm going to put. Best S tier, best A+ tier probably, best A tier, best B+ tier, B tier doesn't really matter. It's a rough life for B tier Pokemon, but still, like, doesn't feel god-awful. You know, it doesn't feel like old Venusaur, doesn't feel like old Talonflame, doesn't feel like Slowbro. So, playable, better, good, strong, best. Like, that's how you can look at this tier list, and then you can kind of, like, find the top Pokemon in them. Machamp, level 5 submission cheese, really good. Cross Chop, beating up on people, just getting in there. One of the best Unite moves in the game. Machamp's good. It just doesn't have as easy of a life scaling as Blastoise. It doesn't, like, I guess Garchomp goes harder, I think is the best way. Like, yeah, Garchomp and Machamp, when they both Unite move at, like, level 13, pretty comparable. But I think Garchomp can take it over a bit more, or at least a little bit more reliably. So, I mean, like, better scaling, insane crit damage at range with some safety involved. Maybe Machamp is A+ tier because of, like, Pokemon that end up in the meta or something. But until then, I think it's, like, a safe A. It's just, like, it just doesn't... It's a harder life than all these other, like, A+ S tier Pokemon, but it does, like, represent, like, yo, this is A tier. It can win the game by itself if it needs to. It just doesn't do it for free as much as the A+ S tier Pokemon. And I think that is going to be a good breakdown on the tier list. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.